Hi, Isabel. So nice to see you here.
Hi, Nivi. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Well, thank you so much for taking out the time to be with us today. I wanted to welcome you to this video series that we're doing for the Great Food Transformation. That's an amazing course that you're intimately involved with at Harvard University. So let's actually start our conversation with what is your why? What is that vision that gets you up and out of bed every morning and show up to all the activities that you're engaged with?
Yeah. So I'm very interested in climate change. And I think one of the things that people are generally not aware of is how much the food that we eat has an impact on it, especially animal farming and agriculture. So um, I'm very interested in learning about that. And um, I'm interested in this course because of
Yeah.
that.
Yes, and climate change is, it's a big reality. I mean, I know that there is a lot of climate denial also that, happens in different parts of the world, including this one. But then more and more, the general consensus is that yes, there is anthropogenic forced climate transformation that is occurring at this point in time. And Isabel, you have a PhD. You identify as a geophysicist, and you're someone who understands this aspect and others way more intricately than the general audience, who's likely going to be watching this conversation does. So, before we go on to understanding your work and your studies and maybe what you did in your PhD and some of the big complicated questions that you've attempted to crack. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So I'm from Venezuela and Colombia. I did my undergraduate in Caracas, where I did basically geophysical engineering there. Then I did a master's at the University of Oklahoma. I went there through an exchange program that my university had at the time. I did some internships here in the US, and then I did the PhD in geophysics at the University of Edinburgh in Scotland. Um, Before that, I spent 1 year as an exchange student in Germany. So that was a great experience as well. And then basically, I worked for about 15 years in the energy industry,
Mhm.
and currently I'm doing a master's in sustainability. So I'm very interested in sustainability, and I thought this is a great chance to learn about this topic that is very pertinent to our time, and that will be growing so much. Um, and that's how I came to this course through the sustainability area.
To the sustainability area, and such a diverse background you have, and you've spent time, it sounds like, both professionally and academically in different parts of the world. So how many languages do you speak?
Well, Spanish is my native language, of course, English, and a little bit of German. Um,
Okay.
my husband is from Greece, so I tried, the minimum uh, Greek language, a little bit on that side for when we go visit family in Greece. Yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting because that's a different script as well, right? The Greek script
Yes,
and the way they write. Are you conversant with that at all?
a little bit,
A little
basic
bit.
level. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm able to dabble in reading Greek a little bit because of the influence on the Cyrillic script, and I read and write up and speak a smattering of Russian. Um, so that's my little brush with that part of the world. Um, anyway, so you mentioned you've spent about 15 years in the energy industry. So you're almost like this industry insider, when it comes to how the supply chain and the ins and outs of energy really works and the impact and potentially even the greenwashing that tends to occur in that industry. Would you be comfortable talking a little bit about your experience as an energy industry professional?
Yeah, so in geophysics, generally we use methods to understand what's in the subsurface. So that's a lot of what I did. I worked in different aspects of exploration, development, and production of oil and gas. And what I want to do now is try to apply the skills that I had, that I have, into something that is a little bit more sustainable.
Yeah, yeah. And do you think that there is a consciousness within the industry to want to move towards sustainability?
Yes, I mean it's all at different levels. Every company is different, um, but I think there is some progress.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, that's very,
yeah,
very good to hear. So now
yeah.
let's talk about Gov 1318, a big, amazing leviathan of a multidisciplinary movement started by Sparsha, and something that's sort of like consuming all of us at this point in time in a really good way. So why the Great Food Transformation? What attracted you to this course?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I came through it through because I'm interested in sustainability, and it's such a big. It's so is everything related to the food supply chain
Mhm.
is has so much to do um, with the greenhouse gas emissions that are that are emitted, and generally because of climate change. That's kind of how I got interested in. Um, I'm very interested in throughout my career in teaching, so I've enjoyed that very much in the different aspects. Uh, I've taught different courses for adults, and this is a chance to do that in a topic that I'm passionate about. Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you foresee the role of a teaching fellow? Because that's your, specific role within the course. What does a teaching fellow do?
So in this course in particular, um, the students have groups and they're working with projects that are with different organizations. So that's a big part of what they're doing in the section and with the teaching fellows. There's also a short part is a review of the material that was covered in classes, so a discussion on that topic. Um,
Yeah.
so a little bit helping consolidate the concepts that are described and discussed in the class.
Yeah, and I've been to many of the lectures delivered by Sparsha, and also here on the video series we've been talking about every single lecture that she's been delivering, and I mean it just seems to touch anything and everything, right? It's related to public health, medicine, agriculture and farmers, and intersectionality, diversity, equity, social determinants of health. So how do you, I'm really curious, with your background as a geophysicist, have you been sort of also reading along and immersing yourself in all this research and trying to understand?
Yes, so this has been a great experience because, if you're part of a teaching team, it's really the best way to learn.
Yeah.
This is a new course also for me, so I've been doing all the readings with the students, and it's been incredible the amount of new information um, that we have gathered so far, and we're only in the first few weeks of the semester, so it's been really eye-opening in many ways. Like I had a sense of the impact of food, but not all the details that we have learned in class. So that has really been very educational for me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sparsha is a very compelling lecturer. She teaches with a lot of passion and with her heart and mind and soul poured into it. Well, my last question to you, Isabel, is why do you think such academic content is relevant in this day and age? Why is it important for students to be exposed to this content?
So there's so much that students can do after, depending on whatever career path they take. But in every career path right now, I think what we're learning in this class will be very important to keep in mind. The impacts on biodiversity are huge. For example, it's not just the climate change, but one thing that I think is really good about this course is that sometimes when people think about, climate change is a big crisis that we're having right now, right? uh, People often feel like it's out of their hands to find solutions, but through this course they can see that actually individual actions can have a big impact. So people can take, hope out of that and be encouraged to take action,
Absolutely.
um,
Yeah, yeah.
at a
Please.
personal level, but for students generally, also on a professional level, in whatever work they do. Any career right now has to have, um, knowledge of kind of our current crisis right now. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we've looked through the model where Sparsha took people, took the students through the planetary boundaries that are being breached, that may have been breached, and the risk posed to the planet across so many different levels, right? And yeah, so thank you so much for this. For reminding the audience again that climate change is not just a matter of policy, that it's not just left to the powers that be in every country to take action on. But there's, you know, some very powerful things that we as individuals can actually do. And the hope through this course and the content here, and also this video series, is that we're able to really encourage ordinary human beings to make the slightest change in how they live, how they choose to fuel themselves, what their interaction with the natural world is. And obviously the biggest change you can make is to choose to go 100% plant-based with your next meal. So thank you so much for your efforts, for your contributions, for the work that you're doing and the vision that you hold. It's extremely inspiring for me personally and professionally, and I'm very sure the students are so lucky to have you. Thank you so
thank you,
much.
Nivi, and thank you for promoting this course. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, I will see you in class. Thanks,
Yeah,
Isabel.
thanks. Bye.